everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about 5 most disappointing books that I've read in 2024. They are all 2024 releases. You're going to see some very popular names here, popular books, but I have to explain that they're just disappointing because I did not particularly like the story, and none of these books are written badly. I actually think that they were really well written. It just has to do with the level of enjoyment they provided for me, or in this case, it didn't. Now, the first one is Graveyard Shift by Emil Rio. And this is a novella, so I'm not going to give you a lot. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the premise and why I didn't like it. But this is a story of, I don't remember, is it 4 or 5 people that would just go hang out in a graveyard at night to go smoke. One of them, I think, works in a hospital. I don't remember the details, but they have to be away. So for whatever reason, now they would go and hang out there and smoke. That's what they went there to do. Eventually, one night they find this hole in the ground and they realize that they're doing something in that hole. They're throwing something in that hole. So we'll spend the rest of the book trying to figure out what it was. I thought that this could have been a novel. It could have been longer. It could have explored a little bit more about the characters. And I thought that for being a novella, it was full pack of, action and things happening. But at the same time, since I couldn't connect to any of the characters, I just didn't care for the overall story at the end. I know a lot of people loved it. They thought it was great. Just for me, it didn't work. The next one is So Thirsty, and this is by Rachel Harrison. And I talk about her books before. I feel like her writing style is very specific, as women, empowerment, friendships, and all that kind of stuff. That it's not what I like to read, not because there's anything wrong with it. It's just that it doesn't entertain me when it's very character oriented and not so plot driven, unless the characters are going through the worst time of their lives and this is gonna touch my heart in a way where I'm feeling for these characters. If it's just we're gonna explore this relationship and we're gonna go fun, go sleep around with a bunch of people, do drugs and alcohol and call that empowerment, maybe I'm too old for it. And that's why I can't connect to her books. And that's what happened with this one in particular. This is about a couple of friends. I think one is turning 37 and her husband decides to buy her this weekend or schedules this weekend trip with her and her friend who's coming from Europe. Her friend is a different person. She's in Europe living her best life. She's married, but she's partying. And the other one has a very boring life. So they get together and the fun friend who came from Europe says, you know what? We're going to go crazy tonight. We're going to go to this house where they're going to go have fun with a lot of guys and drink and do drugs. And eventually, and this is the one part, the one scene that really grabbed my attention while they were there and after the smut, where, one of them sees something. She's like, oh my gosh, these people are keeping somebody and hostage here. And so they started to, she's trying to tell her friend, we gotta leave, these people have somebody out there. And then something happens and they are turned into vampires. Now you would think that that's just, the end of the story or it's closer to the end, but it's not. It's at the beginning, so then we spend the rest of the time figuring out what the friends want to do. Do we want to go out and kill people for their blood? Do we want to be like this vampire? The vampires, mind you, they were kind of promiscuous, but at the same time, they were good people. They were kind, they were nice, they were not monsters, scary, and it just didn't work for me. The third one is one of those that everyone loved this year, so I'm in the minority, but it's because of the ending. The ending lets you interpret what really happened throughout the book, and I'm not about that life. With the way my brain works, if I'm gonna spend 300 pages reading your book, you better tell me what was really happening at the end or I'm gonna lose it. And that's exactly what happened with Incidents Around the House. Not Incidents Around the House. With We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. This was one of those books that was so overhyped, and when I listened to the first part on Audible, of this book, I was really into the story. It starts with this knock on the door. There's this girl that is renovating the house with her partner, who is another girl. And, you know, her partner, Charlie, goes to town. She's by herself. She gets a knock on the door. There's this family that says, you know, we're moving out of town, but this is the house where I grew up in, and I want to show my family. They enter the house. She says yes because she's a people pleaser, and then she can't get rid of them because of a lot of stuff that are happening. Now, were there creepy scenes in this book? Yes, there were. I just didn't care for the ending. So it was really disappointing to me. But I know that there's so many people out there that enjoyed this book. It was one of the finalists for the Goodreads Award. I don't think it won, but I mean, it was such a success. I just didn't care for the ending. You know, I thought that some parts were really entertaining and creepy, but at the same time, it was like, okay, if I have to come up with the ending, I'm too lazy for that, so it was disappointing. Number 4 is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. I donated all these books. I got them, and then I did an on-haul, so I'm gonna have a link up here if you want to go check it out. But I got rid of all these books because I know there's people out there that love them, so why would I keep them for myself when I'm not gonna reread them? So Incidents Around the House is about this girl. I think she's 8, and she is seeing something in her closet every night that she calls the other mummy. And you know, this thing is happening, and I have an entire video why I didn't like this book, but I'm gonna give you the short answer. But if you wanna go see the long answer, check out that video. We'll link it up below and on top of the screen. But basically, the parents were having a really hard time. They were struggling with their relationship, and you didn't know exactly what was happening between them. But what I didn't like about this book is that there was only one perspective, and it was the little girl's perspective. So we're seeing how these parents are struggling from an 8-year-old perspective. We're seeing how these parents are going to parties and doing drugs, alcohol, considering cheating, and all these things through this 8-year-old lens. Because what they did, and how she would tell you all this, is because at night they would go tuck her in, and when they thought she was asleep, they would just come up with these monologues and tell them exactly all the kind of nasty things they were doing as parents. And she was there pretending to be asleep, but she was listening to this, so that's why she was telling us all these things. I didn't care for that writing style. I didn't find it creepy. Were there some creepy scenes? Yes. There's some scenes where the other mother is coming out of the closet and how she's doing all that. That is really creepy. I would have appreciated more another point of view, maybe the dads or the moms or both, to kind of learn their story from their perspectives instead of from their daughters. So no, I got the ick with this book and I did not enjoy it. The other one is Like Mother, Like Daughter by, can't remember, McCreight. Let's see. I donated to the library. I'll put the cover on the screen. I donated to the library, but apparently it's checked out. Anyway, this is the story of a daughter and a mom that are struggling in their relationship. She's going to NYU. They are not talking to each other, but then one day the mom calls and says, hey, I need to talk to you. Can you come over tonight? And we'll talk about over dinner. The daughter decides that she's gonna go, but she's in the train considering not even going. She's not interested in talking to her mom. We don't know what really happened between them, but she still goes. She gets there, the door is open, the mom is not there, and there's a bloody shoe under the couch. This plot was amazing. I have to say that. I have to give it to the author. I thought it was super smart, and I thought if the characters were different people or if it was written in a different style, I think this would have been a 5-star for me. I did not care for the characters. The audiobook is one of the worst audiobooks I think it's the worst audiobook I've ever listened to. I had to stop listening to the audiobook and finish it physically because it was just this one narrator who was doing the dad and the daughter, and there was no difference in the voice, so you have to guess who's speaking, and depending on what they're saying, and as you're getting to know them, you don't know how they're thinking, so it's a little strange. I did not care for this book. The mystery was good, but I didn't think the writing was good. It wasn't bad. I just thought that the style that she used to develop the story just did not click in my brain, and that's why I was disappointed. So anyway, that is it for my top 5 disappointing books of 2024. Let me know if you have any on your list. Do you remember any of those books that you were like, oh my gosh, I was looking forward to this, but it's so disappointing? So anyway, thank you so much for being here today, guys. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.